Hey everybody, this is Brian Newman from Hebrew Hearts Ministry. Trying to make a video on this crap phone I have now. So we shall see how it goes. So that new movie Bohemian Rhapsody just came out. I saw previews for it for weeks, and I'm really not into metal, not into the band Queen. I barely had any idea who they are, to tell you the truth. I knew they scream about Galileo for some reason, but and did like really operatic kind of stuff. So really no ties to the music, to the band, to the music, to any of that. And I just got like fascinated by all these previews for some reason over and over. And I knew Freddie Mercury had a little bit of an unusual lifestyle. I thought he did. It seemed like it from the previews. So anyway, I normally would never go see this kind of movie, ever, probably, because it's just, aside from being totally unrelated to anything I'm related to, it also has a lifestyle I really don't want to financially support. And when we go to movies and buy books and things like that, we're financially supporting something we claim to be against. But I just felt compelled over and over to go see this movie, or part of it anyway. So I finally go, and just to do half of it at least is all I could bear. When he kissed the other guy, that's just too much for me. But I was like, why am I watching this movie? Why am I here to see this movie? And it finally came to about a quarter of the way through. It came to a part where Freddie Mercury meets his future bandmates, and he's like this really awkward guy. He's like really creative, artistic. He's really awkward, and everybody just thinks he's weird. And he doesn't fit in his family because they're from India, and he doesn't fit in anywhere else either. But he walks up to these guys who had a band, and the lead singer just left. He's like, "Hey, I can sing." And the drummer, I think, says, "Mate, not with those teeth you want. You won't be the front man of anything." Because the drummer was originally a dental student, and there's the other guy who was like an astronomy student. But Freddie Mercury was apparently famous for having these big, bulging front teeth. And it made him really self-conscious. Like, so self-conscious, he didn't want to sing or anything in front of the people, but he was like a phenomenally gifted singer. You know, the gifts of God without repentance, and if you can sing, you can sing. And now, but he was really crazy self-conscious about these teeth that just bulged out the top and the front like Bugs Bunny. And I really related to that because I've got like an underbite. You can see it in one of my pictures I just posted. I met the great-grandson of Bram Stoker, so a great-great-nephew of Bram Stoker who wrote Dracula, and taught him of my ancestry, because my ancestors actually fought alongside Vlad Tepes of Dracula. We fought against Ottoman Turks. But in that picture, you can see I have this underbite, because I wasn't prepared for the picture, so I didn't protrude my chin out like I need to when I do for pictures. Because normally it goes back a little bit. I'm crazy self-conscious about it. And I've got these two incisors that are like vampire teeth. We couldn't afford to get fixed growing up. And also, the VA had a cavity, and the Department of Veterans Affairs, dentist in Nashville, chipped my tooth. They were trying to fill a cavity. They drill a hole, pack it with some stuff that likes to fall out. But when it falls out, it takes part of the sliver of your tooth with it. And then they try to fix it again, and it happens all over. So you end up with even bigger part of your tooth missing than you did when you started. And they did that in two places. Which is, you guys probably can't see the video, but both of my very middle teeth in the front and the bottom are missing a piece because of the VA having crappy dentists that like to pack cavities with things that take part of your tooth out with it when it comes out. So between the missing tooth pieces and the vampire incisors and the underbite, I am crazy self-conscious about talking on video like I am now, which has taken me years to work up the nerve to do, or public speaking in capacity. Still don't sing. I haven't sang in public in literally 2 decades. I tried one time in Nashville in front of 2 people. Didn't go over well. Both professional musicians. So I was trying to explain to them how a song I wrote goes. But you can't sing. It's really hard to express that, especially in front of trained professionals that are going to college to do this for a living. So I'm crazy self-conscious about my singing voice, but especially about anybody looking at my mouth. So the 2 bottom teeth are chipped, and the incisor thing, and the underbite. And when I was a kid, my tongue went up too far. The part that attaches at the bottom of your mouth went up too far. So what that did is it made it where I couldn't say 2 or 3 letters. I had a speech impediment. I couldn't say 2 or 3 letters. I was in speech therapy for 2 years after they figured out what was happening. And I also needed glasses I couldn't see. So they thought that I couldn't read and I couldn't talk. So the assumption was I'm mentally retarded. And my school put in my records I'm mentally retarded because of the tongue thing and because I need glasses. So speech therapy 2 years, but eventually over time, the incisors come in around puberty. The jaw has always been this way, and the chip teeth. So crazy self-conscious. But I'm watching this movie, and they tell Freddie Mercury, who becomes like the greatest vocalist of like the decade probably. If you look at all the charts and things, probably the best vocalist of the entire, I guess, 1970s when they were big. But his own bandmate, the first time they meet, his first words to him are, "You're not singing anything with those teeth." Because Freddie Mercury not only had vampire teeth like I do, he had 4 incisors. He doesn't have incisors in the wrong places, or canines, sorry. He had 4 instead of 2. He had an extra set on top and bottom of like an extra set of incisors. So that made him look like a bunny rabbit walking around with the teeth just bulging out. But it also gave him incredible vocal range, because I guess their sound had more time to pass over his teeth. And then I was like, oh wow. So that's like kind of a epiphany. And someone else went through that too and actually did something in a public setting where people stare at their mouth all day. And then the movie progresses and it gets worse and worse, and then he kisses some dude, and I finally had to leave. And I think God's like, you can leave now because you saw the part you're supposed to see. And God can speak to us like really strange things, like movies that have no relation to us, that seem to oppose our values in a lot of ways. But I think I saw that whole thing just with that one little part to know that, you know, someone was not only, I guess, accepted for something we have in common that would normally preclude them, but they're celebrated for it. I mean, they were famous. He had like his picture is famous. Every picture of him you ever see, he's singing and his mouth's wide open and he's got all these giant teeth. And the people closest to him had told him that would be the very thing that would keep him from doing what he's famous for. So I just really related to that, and I hope maybe that helps you guys some in a strange way. Freddie Mercury, a gay musician who sings music that I don't even listen to, don't even understand really. Decades after his death, really encouraged me in an area of ministry, like doing videos and public speaking. I have to go lead a Bible study, possibly on video, tomorrow in South Carolina for my singles group. And 2 weekends ago I was preaching at my cousin's church, and I was in a TV interview in Savannah, and doing a video right now with people staring at my mouth, which makes me really antsy. But this gay musician from the 70s is something about his life has encouraged me over this huge giant ministry roadblock, which has always been I want to do websites and I want to do books for the sole purpose of A, social anxiety, and B, I don't want people staring at my mouth, which makes the social anxiety worse. These will now meet girls. I'm always looking down Not because of any kind of bad thing they might assume, but I look down because I don't want people staring at my teeth. So I tilt my head down, people can't look at my mouth directly. So it's like a shame thing. I'm always like looking down. Or I might look down and look up because I try to make some kind of eye contact, but my head's tilted down. So people don't look at my teeth when I'm talking. And one of the many reasons I don't generally do public speaking, and I don't like crowds, and I don't like meeting people I don't know, and I don't like these kind of engagements with people staring at me. And I actually originally went to school to be a teacher, which I found that's not going to work. But that was a big hang up too, is I'm going to have high school students or junior high students that are really, really into making fun of people, staring, watching me talk to them all day. So I didn't know what kind of ridicule that might result in, especially since I was originally going to school to teach German. And when you're a language teacher, you have to enunciate and tell people to look at your mouth all day. And I also went on to marry a dental hygienist for a time, dental assistant for a time, and then signed a ketubah with a dental hygienist. And I don't know how that happened, but two people in the dental field. But I guess the point of the video would be to know that sometimes God encourages in ways we did not expect. I'm calling this video the Bohemian donkey, because like Balaam didn't expect a donkey to say anything to him at all, much less to say something that would save his life. And I certainly did not expect for a gay rock musician from the 70s who passed away at some point, I believe, to be the one whose life helped me overcome a huge ministry hurdle I've been dealing with for 2 decades. So, I don't recommend seeing that movie, but it is a very interesting story about how he went from being a kid from India with a massive overbite to a giant multi-million-dollar rock star in America. Just be open to how God can use other people you would not expect, or their stories, or their lives, or it's not always going to be coming from a Christian bookstore book, or from the Bible, or from a Christian radio. I mean, you just never know what will be used to encourage you. And you'll make sure it's not something unbiblical, but anti-scriptural. But you just never know what can be used to encourage you, or used to push you forward. Daniel got pushed forward by a pagan king named Nebuchadnezzar, and a pagan king named Darius. And a pagan king named Nebuchadnezzar made Daniel third in charge of the entire kingdom of Babylon, which is the home of paganism. It doesn't get any stranger than that. It takes a monotheistic Jewish priest and makes him third in command of the entire nation of Babylon, which ruled the entire world. And he also puts Daniel in charge of all the musicians, sorcerers, necromancers, and mediums, and psychics. So Daniel became the boss of all these people. I'd love to see how that played out. But just be encouraged. God can use the most unusual people to advance you and to help you overcome roadblocks. Shalom to your hearts.